Ladies and gentlemen, there stands a woman not with a man by her side, not with a ring on her finger, not with the world's approval, but with something far greater. She stands with dignity. She stands with strength. She walks alone, but she is never truly alone. You may look at her and say she's missing something, but I tell you today, she is filled with something that no human hand can give and no human word can take away. She walks under the watchful eye of a God who neither slumbers nor sleeps. Her steps are ordered, her tears are counted, and her prayers are heard. Yes, she walks alone, but alone does not mean unloved. Alone does not mean forsaken. It means chosen. It means set apart. It means she has discovered that identity is not written in someone else's last name. It's carved into her soul by the one who created her. She doesn't walk through life with bitterness in her heart or shame on her back. No, she walks like royalty, because she is. She walks through valleys where others crumbled, and she still sings. She walks through storms without an umbrella and comes out dry. Why? Because her covering is not of this world. Let the world call her single. Let them whisper behind closed doors. But heaven calls her by name. And when she walks, angels walk beside her. She's not waiting to be rescued. She already was. She's not waiting to be completed. She already is. She doesn't walk for approval. She walks in purpose. She doesn't walk for validation. She walks in victory. So to the woman who walks alone with no husband, I salute you. You are not half a story. You are a full chapter. You are not the pause between sentences. You are the exclamation at the end of the paragraph. Keep walking. Head high. Faith strong. Because where you're going, no husband was required, just obedience, courage, and the fire inside your soul. Thank you. Even when the world sees her as alone, heaven calls her beloved and watched over. She may walk into rooms where others glance with curiosity or pity, wondering how she manages without a partner, without a covering, without a name to share. But what they cannot see is what surrounds her in the unseen. They don't see the angels encamped around her. They don't hear the still, small voice that speaks to her in the quiet. They don't know the strength it takes to rise every morning and choose faith over fear, to choose hope over despair, and to choose joy even when the silence is heavy. She is not abandoned. No, she is deeply held. The arms that hold her are not flesh and blood, they are everlasting. When she lies awake at night, it is not emptiness that echoes through her soul. It is the whisper of purpose, the comfort of divine presence, the assurance that she is never out of sight, never out of mind, never out of reach. The world defines worth by attachment, by status, by companionship. But she knows better. She knows that being alone does not equate to being unloved. She knows that the absence of a husband does not mean the absence of worth. She is learning to be whole in her own skin, with her own story, with her own walk. She has come to understand that she is seen fully and completely by the one who knit her together in her mother's womb. Her story may not follow the script that others expect. There may be no aisle, no ring, no title of wife next to her name, but there is victory in her voice and destiny in her steps. Every time she moves forward, she defies the narrative that says a woman is incomplete without a man. She rewrites the definition of fulfillment. She redefines strength not as being surrounded, but as standing firm even when she is standing alone. She is never truly alone. In every silent prayer, there is a response. In every moment of weariness, there is new strength. In every tear, there is comfort. Heaven has not turned its back on her, it has wrapped itself around her. While others may walk in and out of her life, there is one who has promised never to leave nor forsake her. And he keeps his promises. So let them look, let them wonder, let them talk. Because this woman, this seemingly solitary woman, is not walking a lonely road, she is walking a sacred one. Alone to the eye, perhaps, but in truth, she is never alone, never forgotten, never abandoned. She is carried, she is guided, she is loved beyond measure. And that, my friend, is more than enough. There is a certain kind of power that comes from walking alone, a strength that is forged in the quiet spaces where no one is watching, no one is cheering, and no one is holding your hand. It is in those moments when the world feels vast and empty that true resilience is born. Some see solitude as a burden, as something to be escaped, filled, or remedied, but for the woman who walks without a husband, solitude is not her weakness, it is her training ground. She has learned to rely on something deeper than fleeting companionship. She has discovered that her strength does not come from the presence of another, but from the depth of her own spirit, refined through seasons of silence and shaped by trials she has faced alone. She has had to be her own comfort, her own encourager, her own anchor in the storm. And though the road has been long and sometimes lonely, she stands taller because of it. She has walked through days when the silence felt like an echo, and she has faced nights where there was no hand to hold. But in those moments, she found a strength she never knew she had. She has learned that peace is not found in the noise of companionship, but in the quiet assurance that she is exactly where she needs to be. She has discovered that solitude is not emptiness, but an invitation to grow, to reflect, to build, to become. Where others might seek validation in the eyes of another, she has learned to look within. She does not wait for permission to live fully, to love deeply, to pursue her dreams. She does not hesitate to walk forward, even when the path is unfamiliar, even when the road is untraveled. She does not fear standing alone because she knows that true strength is not measured by who walks beside her, but by her ability to stand firm even when no one else does. She does not crumble when the world expects her to. She does not shrink under the weight of expectation. She does not apologize for her independence or her confidence. She embraces the solitude, knowing that it is in these moments that she is refined, molded, and prepared for something greater. She is strong not because life has been easy, but because she has learned to stand on her own 2 feet. She has built herself up piece by piece, moment by moment. And while some may see her as alone, she knows she is anything but. For in her solitude, she has found her greatest strength. In her solitude, she has discovered who she truly is. She walks through life without a husband, without a partner to share the weight of the days, and yet she does not walk alone. To the casual eye, she may appear solitary, but if you could see with spiritual sight, you'd know she is surrounded. She is accompanied. She is never without presence, for the one who shaped her in secret walks beside her in the open. God is her companion, not just in the sanctuary, but in the silence, not just in the joy, but in the ache. She does not rely on the presence of man to feel cherished. She is not waiting for someone to fill the seat beside her. Her seat is already full with grace, with peace, with the gentle, unwavering companionship of the Almighty. He is not seasonal. He does not come and go. He is not here only when things are well and gone when they are not. He abides, he dwells, he walks with her through the valley, through the shadows, through the stillness, and through the storms. When the nights are long and the room is quiet, he is there. When she reaches for a hand that isn't there, he gives her his. When her heart aches for connection, he whispers, "You are mine." She is never out of his sight. He hears every unspoken word. He knows the weight of every decision she carries on her own. And though the world may call her single, heaven calls her accompanied, loved, chosen, protected. She has built a life with God at the center, not as a distant figure she turns to only in need, but as the constant presence who goes before her, walks beside her, and has her back. He is her conversation partner in the kitchen, her calm in the chaos, her stillness in the storm. She takes her questions to him, she lays her plans before him, and when no one else sees the work she's doing to keep going, he honors it. He reminds her that she is not incomplete. He reassures her that love is not limited to human touch. He teaches her that his companionship is not a substitute, it is the source. The love he gives is not dependent on her performance. It is not based on status. It is not timed or earned. It simply is constant, fierce, faithful. She may not have a husband to share her days with, but she has a Savior who shares every breath. When she rises in the morning, he is there. When she lays her head down at night, he watches over her. And in between, he walks with her not one step behind, not one step ahead, but right beside her, matching her stride, holding her up when she's weary, whispering truth when doubt creeps in. So she smiles not because life is always easy, but because she knows she is never alone. The world may see an empty hand, but she knows her hand is held by the one who holds the world. She walks in confidence, not because she has all the answers, but because she knows the one who does. God is her companion, and that makes all the difference.
Well, the world may look at her and ask, what is she waiting for? But she isn't waiting. She's walking, she's building, she's becoming. Her singleness is not a pause, it's a platform. A place where she hears more clearly, moves more freely, and grows more deeply. She has learned to steward her solitude, not resent it. She uses her time, her talents, her prayers, her love not just to dream about a future someone, but to bless the world around her now. Her life is not on hold. It's unfolding. She is a carrier of vision, a bearer of light, and her purpose is not reduced because she walks alone. In fact, her purpose is being strengthened in the stillness, sharpened in the silence. While others chase validation, she is being filled with divine direction. Her steps may look ordinary, but her path is marked by heaven's hand. There's oil on her head. There's calling in her bones. She is not overlooked, she is being prepared. She has learned to listen not to the voices of culture, but to the voice of God. He reminds her that she is not late, not behind, not forgotten. She is exactly where she needs to be to become exactly who He made her to be. She is a vessel of wisdom, of kindness, of fierce grace, a vessel that has been tried by fire and still stands whole. A vessel that carries healing, carries words that restore, carries the power to shift the atmosphere of any room she enters. Purpose flows through her not just because of what she does, but because of who she is. She is faithful with what she has. She is present with what she's been given. And she knows that calling does not require company, it requires surrender. Each season she walks through, even the quiet ones, is shaping her for something greater than she can see right now. Her voice does not tremble from lack of love, nor does it waver from the absence of a man beside her. Her voice carries the sound of survival, of wisdom earned in silence, of lessons learned when no one else was there to help her carry the weight. There is victory in her voice because every word she speaks has been filtered through fire. She has walked through seasons that could have silenced her, but instead they sharpened her. Her voice is not loud for attention, it is steady with conviction, layered with compassion, anchored truth. She doesn't speak from theory, she speaks from experience. From late nights filled with tears and early mornings where she still showed up. From heartbreaks that didn't destroy her, only deepened her. From prayers whispered in empty rooms that were still heard by heaven. Her voice is victory not because she's never been broken, but because she never stayed broken. Every time she opens her mouth, she offers a piece of that journey, a reflection of what it looks like to be held together by something stronger than circumstance. She is not waiting for someone else to validate what God already confirmed. Her voice rises with clarity not rooted in pride, but in purpose. It carries stories not of defeat, but of resilience. She doesn't use her voice to prove herself, she uses it to free others. To tell the woman who feels unseen that she is seen. To tell the one who feels forgotten that she is not alone. Her voice is a bridge, a balm, a battle cry. It's how she fights, how she heals, how she leads. There is power in the way she speaks, not because she has all the answers, but because she's learned how to live with questions and still trust. She has learned to use her voice to call down peace, to push back fear, to speak life over herself when no one else was speaking it over her. Her voice is not always the loudest in the room, but it is one of the most enduring. Because it comes from a place few people understand, a place of deep dependence on God, a place of relentless hope, a place of unwavering faith in the middle of uncertainty. Her voice carries the evidence that she made it through when she had every reason not to. It carries the echo of every moment she wanted to quit but didn't. It carries the fire of every day she stood up anyway. So let the world look, question, wonder, even misunderstand. Let it try to define her by what is missing, by what she doesn't have, by who isn't standing beside her. But the truth is clear, she is not defined by absence, but by abundance. Abundance of strength, of courage, of purpose, of faith. She walks without a husband, yes, but she does not walk without covering, without calling, or without companionship. Her story is not one of lack, it is one of legacy. She is living proof that a woman walking alone can still walk in power. That silence can still speak, that solitude can still build, that faith can still roar. She is not waiting for her life to begin, she is already living it fully, boldly, beautifully. She is a woman who walks alone, yes, but in truth she walks surrounded. Strength in her stride, victory in her voice, God by her side, and purpose leading the way.